Hi, my name is Ryan Brown, and for the last 10 years I've been involved in high ticket closing, from consulting to high-end products, you name it, I've pretty much sold it all. Now, my mission is very simple. I want to give back my knowledge, my skills and my understanding from what I've actually learnt from being in the field and give it back to you so you can apply it. My knowledge comes from, from mentors, from audiobooks, from books, but most importantly from practical application of trial and error. And all I hope is you take on board what I tell you and apply it and see the results and go to the next level. Today I'm going to share with you the power of proactiveness, what it has done for me personally, for clients, and what it can do for you. And probably areas where maybe you're falling short right now because you maybe lack true proactiveness. The aim is that you can apply the principles that I've used and see huge gains, huge leaps, huge bounds with what you're trying to currently do, either with your sales career or your business career. I'm going to take you back to when I first left school and give you the first example of proactiveness that I used that just changed everything for me, and then give you some more examples so you can kind of see that it works in just every single way possible. So my first experience with true proactiveness within the business world was when I left school, and we're forced to then go get a job and go figure out what we want to go and study when we don't even know who we are, what we want, and what our life looks like. Well, I didn't want to do that. So instead, I jumped on the computer, how to make money. What's available now was available, over 10 years ago. Affiliate marketing, content marketing, try and do YouTube, a billion other things which they're still telling us can make us money now, which they can. I looked through the list and I was like, well, I don't have experience there, I don't have skills there, I don't have money there. And the one that I landed on was gardening services. And I thought to myself, well, I've used a spade, I've used a fork, I've used some pruning clips before, and I've used a lawnmower. Yeah, why not? Let's give it a go. Then I had the first stumbling block, which can happen a lot of the time when we have new ideas, is we create a solution and then we instantly fill up with some sort of resistance to get us to the next step. And my resistance back then was, well, I don't actually have the equipment, I don't have a lawnmower, I don't have a petrol can, I don't have the tools. Then think more proactively. Well, surely homeowners will have these tools. They just couldn't be bothered to eventually use them. They got stuck into a bad habit of not bothering, and eventually their gardens just get overran. They look at it, but they don't care enough to make the action and do the job. So I thought, okay, they're going to have the tools. All right, tick, that's solved. Now the last thing is, how do I actually get in front of these people? And again, how do I do this? Do I do leaflets? Do I do phone calls? Do I do advertisement? What do I do? When I was 16, I didn't know a great deal about business back then at all. But you just think very proactively. How could you be as proactive as possible when you have no money and start these conversations to then hopefully get some business? Well, I've done the one most important thing. I kept it simple, and I went out there and I walked around the village with a good friend of mine, and we looked for messy gardens that clearly needed some help, to say the least. And then the next step was walk up their driveway and knock on their door. Simple, yeah? Really, really, really simple. Approach the people that you know need the job done and give them an offer. Simple as that. Knocked on the door, said just left school, looking for an opportunity, want to give back, help the community, I want to prove myself and get myself started in life, blah, 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 blah. And it was £10 an hour, was what I charged back then, which was good for 10 years ago. I checked they had a lawnmower, they did. I said, awesome, just get your lawnmower out, get your tools ready, I'll come around on this day, and off we went. And I repeated that process to where I had a consistent book of business that I could be servicing all week long, making £10 an hour just from the power of being proactive and not putting obstacles in front of myself. So that's a very simple way of looking at it. Just don't overcomplicate whatever you're doing and that you're trying to attempt now, and think how you could be the most proactive. How could you make the most proactive approach possible? Go straight to the source. So that's kind of my first true experience of the power of proactiveness. Moving further down the line, about a year and a bit later, I started developing an idea and a business model around social media management. Now, back then again, social media management wasn't conceived in any shape or form to be of high value to business owners back then. Facebook was for posting status updates about relationships, weather, what you'd eaten, and just your opinions that people didn't care for. It wasn't seen as a place to network, to build value, and to generally, get business from. So what I did, and this is kind of a game where I want to just hit home the power of just putting yourself out there just by being proactive. And I remember I got one of my family members to drive me to a local networking event. And at this point, again, I didn't have a real business. I had an idea. How could I get in front of these people? I went to a networking event. I'll be honest with you, I was absolutely bricking it. The words of CEO, director, founder, businessman, businesswoman was quite intimidating. But I got my old prom suit on, got dropped off to this event, walked in with a confidence and an energy of let's make some connections happen and let's connect let's connect with some people. Now, throughout the day I did that. I networked really well, had some great conversations, learned some amazing things, and along the way actually made some really good friends. I didn't get any business that day because I didn't really know how to put my offer together in a way that made it compelling in a marketplace that didn't find it compelling. But what did happen is the day after, I got a phone call from somebody that took my number that day. Long story short, they offered me a job to become head of their sales for their business and to then go and do networking and expand their business and to even manage a sales apprentice. And then later that day, I got another phone call from the event organizer asking me to come and help him next year with setting up the event because I made such a great impression. Fast forward, I ended up taking that one job, which then massively opened my network up, opened me to huge opportunities that I wanted to go into but wasn't sure how to. And that just snowballed things further to where I'm going every week to networking events, representing the business, building relationships with established business owners, and it just kept going and going and going and going. But this all stemmed from that one proactive action, where if I just sat back and waited for it to come, or had some clever system or strategy that I thought may work, who knows what would have happened. So then, let's jump even more ahead now. And one final example I want to give you is I was helping an insurance brokerage develop their book of business throughout England. And they had one product which they hadn't really truly expanded yet, which was a sports insurance policy that would work for self-employed people and employed people. So if they play football, rugby and other sports, you get injuries sometimes, maybe broken bones, ripped tendons, muscles, etc. And what they try to do prior is do a bit of advertising and a bit of, they try to ask their old clients for recommendations and referrals, but it never truly worked. Till one day we had a brainstorm, and then we come to this conclusion, again thinking about maximum proactiveness. And it kind of just flipped, just came to me, which it sounds so simple now. Where are the sports players? Well, they're in the clubs. How can I speak to them? Well, I'm going to speak to their manager, who is respected by them, and the manager cares for his players. I'm going to say something really simple, that I'm going to protect your players, let me come and speak to them and tell them about this, because if they don't have it, what's going to happen? Whatever I did, the manager would agree. I would then get the manager to prep the guys before they'd go out and do their training one evening, and I'd come along. I would pull a roller banner in front of 20, 30 guys at a time and give, honestly, a 3 or 4 minute talk at that about what we do, how it works, how it's going to help them, and how they can give me their details. I'd have clipboards that I got made. They'd all fill their name and numbers in. I had name, number, address, phone number, and a commitment and a lead. And in what took me, a 4 or 5 minute talk, I would generate 20 to 30 leads like that, with a conversion rate of like 95%. because of the power of proactiveness. Go to the source, go to the core root of what you could do and think outside the box. No one else thought of that. No one else thought the simple proactive route. Go in front of these people. Go en masse. I save time trying to call individuals up and trying to find a way to get in front of one person by leveraging a bigger audience. And I got in front of them. I then eventually went on to then train hundreds of other agents at a national event about the methods, what to say, how to do it. And they scaled phenomenally and expanded with that method. And then it leads me to what you're doing right now. What industry are you in? How could you be as proactive as possible and leave no stone unturned and maybe do something that is so obvious it's being overlooked? Because what happens a lot of the time in business is you'll be on Facebook, you're going to be on Instagram, you're going to be on YouTube. You're going to see some captivating headline. You're going to see some amazing sounding strategy. You're going to see someone that's boasting big results here, big results here, big results here. You're going to watch that video, this video, this video. You're going to get marketed an ebook, a course, a guide, consulting, coaching about all these different methods that can help you. And you become overwhelmed with this just pure, just strategies everywhere. And you never actually get to the pure application of it. And sometimes these methods don't work. Sometimes they do, but you're too distracted everywhere. Bring it back down to the simple levels of everything. And let's look at some examples, because I don't want to leave you on a kind of, oh, this sounds good, but what can I do? I want to try and give you something. So let's look at how you can be proactive really quickly. Let's say you are selling digital marketing services. Yes, you can post in Facebook groups, referral networks, run ads. If you don't have money for ads and you're only relying on organic posts, well, what else could you do? You need to have conversations with people, and this applies with everything that you sell. No matter if you're selling digital marketing services or gardening services, you have to be having conversations daily with people. Go on to something like Eventbrite. Type in online networking events. You don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to pay anything for a lot of these events. Show up. Practice your conversations. Practice your pitch. Engage with people that may or may not be your target market. And just a side note with online networking, never go into pitch. Don't go in and just give this quick elevator pitch and try and close people. Build relationships, because these people, if they trust you, will eventually give business to you and vice versa. It's not about who you're speaking to in that room directly. Who do those people know outside of the room? And that's another thing to factor in. So, easy way to be more proactive, go on free online networking events. If you're selling anything which can be sold online, easy. Again, the same applies if you're selling something physically. Go to the physical networking events. Have these conversations more. Other examples of proactiveness. Years ago, way before even I was born, the only route of direct business was you would get sales rep after sales rep after sales rep after sales rep go to commercial estates, business parks, etc. And they would walk in and ask to speak to the business owner. A bit like how a cold call is. It's the same principle of just walking in cold. Again, I've done this many, many times, and it's opened up huge opportunities. Because if you're someone that believes in yourself and your product and your service and actually have a true intent to serve and help, the other person is going to reciprocate that energy back to you. Yes, everything's a numbers game. You may get some people that are standoffish and don't care, but you're going to get that with your ads, with your organic posts, and with everything else you do. But if you're not maximizing all the opportunities, it's time to do that. But quite simply, what I used to do as well, helping that same insurance company develop a different side of their business, was their business insurance, is I would go to an industrial estate. I would walk into the business. Hey, who's the business owner? And then I'd have a quick conversation about, obviously no doubt you're happy with who you're with right now. If not, you change. But look, if I could offer you something which is of the same value or better at a lower price, I take it you'd be interested to have a look. And of course they would. And I'd get their details and we'd start going through the process. And I would get so much business from that. And the other thing to think about on those kind of proactive lead generation methods is the front end business was the business insurance. But what's the back end? Life insurance, critical illness, private medical healthcare, referrals into other networks and other business owners, key man insurance, etc. So don't ever discount a route to market that may not be your number one priority, look at what it can bring beyond that. And having that lens of bigger thinking, again, will allow you to sometimes dominate areas your other competitors or market leaders aren't focusing on as much because they may be a bit short-sighted. But nonetheless, I hope those lessons and stories can kind of give you more insight into the way that I think and the way that you could think within what you're doing right now. Drop a line below and share kind of some proactive methods that you've used before or what you're considering, and I'll give some feedback on it. But nonetheless, good luck on your next sales call or business venture that you're involved in. Drop a like and subscribe if you got some value from this, and see you on the next video.